What is up, everybody? Movie review here, and today we're going to be talking about Rocky 2, continuing our Rocky-thon for this month, so to speak. So Rocky 2 picks up right where the last one left off. We see Rocky and Apollo, coming out of the ring, and, some trash talking goes on, mostly from Apollo's end about, you got lucky and all this and that, and that's kind of the whole plot of like the first half of the movie is Apollo trying to get Rocky to get back into the ring. Rocky doesn't want to because Adrian doesn't want him to, kind of thing, and that's kind of the first half of the movie is just seeing what Rocky does with a ton of money and seeing how he's really built for nothing else. Like his entire purpose in life is just boxing almost at this point. He tries getting other jobs and it just doesn't work for him. He's just not good at it. He can't read. So, he can't do any sort of commercials or promotion or anything to make money. So he really kind of starts to question himself. So there's actually a lot of great development for every character in the movie, really. From Rocky, we see him not at his lowest, but at a point where he's just unsure on what he's supposed to do because he really, he's just not catching any breaks, you know what I mean? And because of all the damage to his face, specifically his eye, he has problems seeing now. So it's almost like boxing is out of the question. So we really get to delve deeper into his character and what that really means for him. Adrian in this movie, I don't think is as interesting as in the last film. In the last film you really do see a huge arc for her. In this movie she's kind of just sidelined. She doesn't have much to do in this one, so that can be disappointing, but at the same time, it cannot be. It's just whatever your personal preference is. A lot of the other side characters kind of doing the same thing, so I guess not everyone does have a good amount of development in this movie. I'm a liar. There's Apollo. During my last review I cut out most of the things I had to say about Apollo because I kind of wanted to save him for this movie, because in this movie you really do see a lot of development for his character, and you learn that if for some reason you thought he was the bad guy in the first movie, this develops his character even more, and he actually does have motivation, and he's not just written as a "arg, I'm a villain" type character. So Rocky and Apollo actually get a ton of great development in this movie, which really does build the tension towards the final fight. Of course, you still want to see Rocky win. It still keeps Rocky as a protagonist. And Apollo is the antagonist of the film, but just like the last one, he's not really the bad guy. He's just the opposition. Other than that, is it as good as the original? No, it's not, but I still think it's a pretty worthy follow-up. It's not like a cinematic masterpiece like Rocky is, which, as I've stated, is my favorite movie, and I think it's an American, film masterpiece, timeless story, yada yada yada. This movie's as good of a follow-up as you can get to, an Oscar-winning, movie. So, it had huge shoes to fill, and it doesn't quite fill them, but it's still a satisfying film on its own. There's still plenty to like about this movie. The performances are still great. The tone and the writing and the overall atmosphere still feels very grounded and very similar to Rocky 1. And it does follow kind of a similar structure, but there's enough new development with the characters and enough new things and new challenges in the way that it doesn't feel like just a carbon copy of the original. Final thing I want to talk about is just the fight and the ending. So minor spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, well, watch Rocky 1 first and then Rocky 2. But, if you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and check it out. It's definitely worth watching. Now for the ending, just a couple things I kind of wanted to point out or give my piece on. The fight itself isn't as well choreographed as the first movie. A lot of punches clearly don't land. But yeah, a lot of the punches don't look like they land. There's plenty of times where it's just it just does not look like it landed at all. And Rocky just takes such a beating. He just allows himself to get punched in the face constantly, which makes the fight, I think, a little less exciting. In the first one, Rocky was definitely the underdog, right? And you know, was not nearly as skilled as Apollo, but still put up a much better fight. I guess you could argue in this one Apollo's going all out kind of thing, but still it makes for a less exciting fight when Rocky's just constantly allowing himself to get frickin' drilled in the face. That being said, when they both, you know, when Rocky knocks him out, or, you know, and then they both fall onto the ground, that's very intense and very, you know, like seat clenching. You know, you definitely, every time I watch the scene, I'm on the edge of my seat, like, get up, what the hell are you doing, get up. So, you know, that's obviously a great scene. And then finally, you know, the classic, you know, Yo Adrian, I Did It is a classic scene. Maybe a little cheesy and goofy or whatever, but honestly it's still like an iconic movie moment and I freaking love it. Yeah, I think I've pretty much stated everything I wanted to talk about with Rocky 2. This is going to be a lot easier to edit, so that's pretty much going to do it for this video review, guys. I'll see you next time.